Do you believe that your pups should be just as fashionable as you are at all times? Me too. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own dog collar, as well as 2 different types of bow accessories. For your supplies, you're going to need a fabric of your choice, nylon strap, I used 1 inch, thread, elastic, a buckle, tri-glide, and a welded D-ring. I made the mistake of not getting a welded D-ring, and now my dog's tags are somewhere in the backyard. You need to cut your nylon strap to length. To determine the length, just measure the circumference of your dog's neck and multiply that by 1.5. I personally rounded up to the nearest number. When cutting your nylon strap, be sure to use a lighter to secure the edge. Now for your fabric, you're going to simply just take the measurement that you just got for your nylon strap and add 2 inches to that number. For example, with this blue fabric, the dog that this is being made for has a 15-inch neck. Multiplying that by 1.5, I get 22.5 inches. I rounded up to 23. Therefore, my fabric should be 24.5 inches. I rounded up to 25. And since I'm working with 1-inch nylon strap, I measured the width of the fabric to be 2 inches. If you are using wider or thinner nylon strap, simply double the width. Once you have your fabric piece cut out, flip it over to see the back side. From here, fold it in half and make a crease. This doesn't have to be a perfect crease, just a sort of guideline. If using an iron helps you, go right ahead, but this cotton that I was using was pretty easy to make a clear crease with just my hands. Next, you're going to fold the 2 edges in towards that little crease that you made. Again, you can use an iron, but for me, this fabric was very easy just to press down. Now we're going to add our fabric to the nylon strap. You should have a little bit of fabric hanging over both ends of the strap. This will come in useful later. The edges of your fabric should just barely touch the edge of your strap. Adjust as needed. Now, stitch the fabric to the nylon strap. Try to get as close to the edge as you can without the threads going over. I also made sure to do a couple of back stitches to try to make sure that the fabric would stay in place as well. Stitch along both long edges of the strap and fabric to secure it to the strap. With the fabric now secured, I'm going to flip the collar over with the nylon side towards me and fold the excess fabric over. I'm going to do a couple of back and forth stitches at about 1/2 inch in. Whichever you feel more comfortable with. I just went with something simple just to secure the fabric in place and give it a good, nice, clean edge. Be sure to do this on both ends. Trim off any excess fabric as needed. Now we're going to insert the tri-glide. Depending on the type of tri-glide you buy will depend on which direction it faces and how many holes it actually has. Mine has a couple more than usual, and took me a minute to figure out which side was up. Loop the collar now through the tri-glide and leave yourself a little bit of extra space. Be sure to watch the video carefully on how to do this if you are stuck at all. I tried my best to get this in focus. My camera did not want to work with me too well on focusing today, but your nylon should be facing you, and the fold over should come over the nylon. Here you can see it from another angle. This is my angle for sewing, if this helps you at all. And you're going to want to leave yourself enough space to clear your machine's foot and stitch quite a few times forward and backwards, or you can do a box with an X through it for better security. Totally up to your personal preference. I just did a couple of passes with a back and forth straight stitch. Now that the tri-glide is secure, we're going to add on our buckle. I did put the buckle on off camera. I was having a little bit of trouble figuring out how to get it through, but I eventually got it. So you can see here that I have simply attached the male end of the buckle on. With the male side of the buckle securely on the collar, feed the free end back through your tri-glide, going up and over what you've already stitched down. This is how the collar should now look. Now, add the D-ring. Again, hopefully you got a welded one, unlike me. Add your D-ring, then add the female side of your buckle. Fold the free end under and through the D-ring. All apologies for the blur, my camera just did not want to work with me today. Secure the fabric between your D-ring and the female end of your buckle. I believe I did a zigzag stitch forward and back a couple of times. Again, you can do the box with the X in the middle if that is more comfortable for you, or you can just do a couple of straight stitches back and forth. Whatever your preferred method is, just make sure you try to get it as secure as possible. And with a quick click, you're all done. You've now made a dog collar. Congratulations! For the bow tie, I cut out a piece of fabric and interfacing to match. One is a 10 by 6 inch, the other is a 6 by 2 inch piece. Even though I had cut out the interfacing and you will see me using it in part of this video, I did end up going with a piece without the interfacing in the long run, as I found that it was just too difficult to stitch together all of the pieces with how thick the fabric was that I was already using. This is up to you if you choose to continue to wish the interfacing. First, all I'm doing is just folding it in half and creating a crease. Then, fold the edges to the crease that you just made and press. Fold in half again, and again, press. Now that you have a crease, open the fabric back up and again fold the edges in towards the crease and press. This is the point where I realized I did not need that interfacing, but simply begin to form your bow tie by creating creases and pleats in the middle. Give it some finessing until it looks exactly how you want. Once you have your desired shape, stitch through the middle of all of the fabric layers to hold it in place. Due to my change in plans, I did end up recording the middle piece off of camera. Simply fold the long edges in towards the center to create a clean edge. You can see the back of it here when it pops up, like so. And then twist it around the middle. Sew and secure. Cut off any excess fabric that you did not need to create the middle, and there you have it, a finished little doggy bow tie. For the final step, I simply added a piece of elastic onto the back so that this could be removed from the collar if it wasn't desired, got in the way, or needed to be washed, or wanted to be put on a different collar. Now for the draped bow. I cut a piece of fabric 5 inches by 20 inches. I know it was a bad idea to get a fabric with a stretch to it to do a dog collar, but it was just so pretty I could not help myself. This is to say that it's not impossible to do these projects with a stretch knit fabric, just not ideal. First thing you're going to do is, of course, fold the fabric in half. With a straight edge, mark a line going from the very corner tip to the top of your fabric. This will be the angle of the ends of your bow. Then fold in half and mark your center point. Make a mark on either side of the center point at about 1 inch or so. This is going to be the opening through which you're going to turn the bow right side out. I then went ahead and marked out my seam allowance. I like to have guidelines to follow, otherwise I can tend to sew in wonky ways, so this is completely optional, but make sure you give yourself a seam allowance. Once you've stitched from each corner to each X, and left yourself a hole of course, trim off any excess fabric and then turn right side out. Then be sure to press for a nice clean look. To shape the bow, simply lay the fabric flat with the little corner peaks pointing at an upward angle. Then cross each end over, leaving just a little bit open, as so. You can adjust the width and your desired look of the bow from here. Once you get the exact shape that you like, simply stitch it all down the middle. You should have something that looks a bit like this. For the middle of the bow, we have a 2 inch by 4 inch piece of fabric that was given the same treatment as all the rest of them. with the edges folded towards the middle. Position this piece of fabric how you would like it. Once you're happy with its position, stitch everything in place. Once everything is stitched in place and secured, you have a finished bow. Once again, I added some elastic to it so that it could be taken on and off the collar easily. And now you're all done. I did end up actually stitching this bow to the collar because I know that I'm going to keep them together indefinitely, and I think it looks cute this way.